a gay old time last time.
It is a gay old time. Tonight we have bi-yonce versus Gay Z.
And what better to announce than Slaminade?
Yeah.
You know, so apt.
Yeah, absolutely. bi-yonce will be in black. You're seeing them warm up now in the background of your screen. These are two pretty darn good rosters, I would say, for an all-queer, all-star event, or for any roller derby event for that matter. It's going to be a fantastic game, as it usually is the second game at these events. uHaul Brawl last year, Clam Slam before that. Yeah,
this is our intermediate advanced roster, and we've got skaters from all over Ontario, Canada, and New York State as well.
That's right. We have A-team rosters from Queen City Roller Girls, Tri-City Roller Derby, Toronto Roller Derby, and Montreal Roller Derby, not to mention Niagara Roller Girls represented in this game. 10 leagues represented tonight at RollOut 2016.
We've also got Queen City, Royal City, and Orangeville Roller Girls in this game as well.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got skaters from all over the place. And first up, it's in the white, Gay Z. P-Slam, who is on the Gay Z roster?
So our roster for Team Gay Z, number 1000K, Vagillionaire. Number 1017, and this is in all caps, so for the rest of the broadcast, I'm going to pronounce it Hootie Hoo. Number 1321, The Knight. Number 15, The Littlest Homo. Number 18, Horny Badger. Number 187, Wrecker. Number 2, Booty. Number 2042, Orgisaurus. Number 213, Sleepover. Number 42, Transparent. Number 51, Dana Skullfucker. Number 828, Switch Hitter. Number CB16, Cock Blocker. And number X3, Commander Box. On the bench, we have Low Blow and Jugs.
Oh, actually, it looks like Pretty Boy Toy is on the bench. Maybe a little bit of a bench switch up.
Pretty Boy Toy, perhaps. And, and M. Gade.
Oh, and M. Gade.
She ran this name by me over Facebook, so I've got the inside scoop on that one.
Nice. Yeah, and
Pretty Boy Toy.
Pretty Boy Toy.
In the rainbow tights and the rainbow shoes. He's always got the sweet kicks. Never disappoints.
Footwear is definitely a priority for Pretty. The bench coach known as Pretty in Toronto Roller Derby, known as Pretty Boy Toy here tonight. If you're just tuning in, this is the 8th year that Toronto Roller Derby has hosted this Pride event. We are on the eve of Pride Weekend, one of the biggest Pride celebrations in North America, if not the world. This has proudly been an event that has always occurred on the eve of this weekend since 2009 now, 8 years.
Always a big part of Toronto Pride.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a big part of Toronto Roller Derby.
And we've had skaters here visiting from Indianapolis, from Bay Area, from Portland, Oregon, from DC over the years. This year it's kind of a more local affair, but nonetheless a lot of skaters visiting. As I mentioned, 10 leagues represented throughout the 2 games tonight. This second game is going to be a full regulation game under the WFTDA rule set. And you're now taking a look at bi-yonce in black heading to the track. Skating for bi-yonce is Gailey Copter from Toronto Roller Derby, wearing the number 1. Number 14, That Big Queer from Tri-City Roller Derby.
You okay? You okay?
I'm all right. I'm okay.
All right.
Number 202, Nameless Horror, returning to RollOut. A longtime skater here at this event. Yes, Queer, number 212 from Toronto Roller Derby. And number 25, Lexi, also from Tord. And from Tri-City Roller Derby, Smashin' Good Time. Began her career at Hammer City in Hamilton, Ontario. Number 320, Bear from Queen City Roller Girls. Number 422, Buster Hyman from Toronto Roller Derby. Number 480, Tits, Tits, Tits.
You're doing a great job.
From Tri-City.
Such a great job, nerd.
Number 76, Getcha. Number 867, the notorious VAG. Got ejected, expelled from the first game for arguing with the referees.
As a bench
coach. Yeah, as a bench coach.
That's one for your diary.
And the legendary Tara Part, wearing number L7, retired skater, longtime skater from Toronto Roller Derby, returning to the track tonight for RollOut. And finally, 00, Oliver Klozoff, who skated in the opening game as well. So lots of track time tonight for Toronto Roller Derby's Oliver Klozoff. And on the bench, you have Tess Derby-Gay and Full Dick for the bi-yonce.
Yep.
Sometimes the names that...
The teams are in black and white, but it's going to be a colorful game tonight and a colorful
absolutely.
broadcast here on layer9.ca, courtesy, of course, of Mr. Force.
That's right. Big thank you.
I made a little poem there.
Yes, you did. That was nice. Very nice.
Yep.
It was like a postmodern haiku. Not quite within the constraints,
It's a
but...
post-cider haiku as well.
Yeah, big thanks to Pommies and Black Oak. No, Nickelbrook. No, Black Oak Brewing Company. Sorry. We just lost sponsorship right there.
We're all doing a great job. We're all just happy to be out of the house. Jamming for bi-yonce in the black, it's Nameless Horror from Montreal Roller Derby. In the white, looks like it might be Horny Badger for Gay Z.
Yeah, so Montreal versus Montreal lineup to start things off here too. Very experienced skater. Horny Badger is a current skater for the new Skids on the Block. And you can seeing that action there. She gets by, that big queer.
A
for
burst
the
of speed, pushes the pack right into turn 2, and then they come to a stop. Nameless Horror has escaped the pack now and is chasing down Horny Badger.
And you can see now 4-3 pack advantage for Gay Z in the white as Horny Badger comes around to try and score, tear apart with a nice exit hit, limits the damage.
Yeah, Gay Z setting up and sort of colonizing the front of that pack, and I see the ref discussion is going to be 4 points for Team Gay Z. First blood for white.
Yeah, so Joe the Locksmith talking to Epic Phil, his outside ref, to determine whether or not hips were passed. Apparently they were.
Oh.
So 4-point pass for Gay Z. Horny Badger with a nice little hip thrust at turn 4 to get the points.
A hip thrust, friends and family.
This is not necessarily a friends and family game.
No, not the friends and family, the people here at least.
No. Getting lead jammer status is Cock Blocker.
And Buster Hyman in the black, knocked to the outside by Booty, but she goes out herself. Then she's held up by the littlest homo, finally escapes the pack.
Some of these names have been used here at this event for years now, including My Littlest Homo.
The littlest, that's my fave.
Yeah.
That's my absolute fave.
A great name. Buster Hyman reminds me of the derby name Hyman Danger. Do you remember that skater from Montreal Roller Derby?
I don't. Hyman, that's
skated for Les Fidois, briefly skated for the new Skids on the Block back in 2011, I believe.
If you don't like puns, like, play hockey. You know what I mean? I appreciate a good roller derby pun, for sure.
And they come out in full force at RollOut.
Yeah, people are on their best behavior. Their best work comes out here.
Nameless Horror getting a lot of work early on and finally takes lead jammer status for bi-yonce, but it's Dana.
Dana's chasing her down the track.
And it's Montreal Roller Derby versus Queen City Roller Derby, 2 Division 1 teams here being
Nameless,
represented.
Given the call to her pack to speed things up, get away from the back, and it is now just a sprint. White Gay Z hoping to keep ahead, and it's going to be an 0-0 jam there. Gay Z still in the lead, 4-0, 3 minutes into this first half.
Nameless Horror, one of the more experienced skaters here on the track, has been skating for Montreal Roller Derby since 2009.
Wow.
That was her first season. Currently does skate for La Racaille in Montreal.
Who were the winners of this year's Beast of the East,
That's
if
right.
I recall correctly.
So lots of Canadian roller derby flavor here tonight, and it's going to be
Vagillionaire jamming for Jay-Z, and that big queer jamming for bi-yonce. And it's Vagillionaire with the lead jammer status in the white. That big queer looking to go to the outside, spins around Booty and knocked out by Hootie Hoo in with the pivot stripe for white, and Vagillionaire starting her scoring pass.
This is Vagillionaire's second year skating at this event. Vagillionaire began her career skating in Durham Region Roller Derby, now skates in Toronto Roller Derby for the Gorgo Roller Girls.
Ooh, and that's going to be a track cut, I bet, on the inside of turn 4. Vagillionaire heading to the penalty box, which means that big queer has a chance to start scoring if she can just complete her initial pass.
And a penalty also going to Bear from bi-yonce.
Orgisaurus Hootie Hoo and Booty trying to hold back that big queer. She's looking for a whip from her teammate. can't find her name. I know her her daytime derby name, but I don't know her rollout derby name.
I didn't see. Was it Gailey Copter?
It was Smashin' Good Time.
Oh,
it's the same name.
It's the same name.
It's the same name for those of you who can read.
Smashin' Good Time, skating tonight as Smashin' Good Time.
Yes.
Not to confuse you. From the Hammer City Roller Girls.
Now this is announcing on hard
excuse
mode.
me, from Tri-City Roller Derby.
Yeah. And Vagillionaire back from the box, but that big queer still having a hard time getting through this pack. Bear blocking backwards against Vagillionaire along with Smashing Good Time and Gailey Copter.
And nice little offense there from Hootie Hoo. Splits up that trio of blockers. And nice toe stop work from Vagillionaire. Keeps her in bounds. She is through initial pass now legally complete.
That big queer finds space on the outside to pass, but gets held up by Hootie Hoo at the front. Still manages 5 points. bi-yonce now on the board. We have a lead change 5-4. A very low scoring game now, 5.5 minutes into play.
And Pretty Boy Toy rushing into the track, as you can see on your screen, to talk to my ref, not the head referee.
And skipping out.
Yeah. Nice work. Wearing the very, I think, apt Orlando Magic jersey tonight. So,
absolutely.
Very excellent wardrobe choice there from Pretty Boy Toy.
Pretty Boy Toy wins the wardrobe game every day of his life. And it is Buster Hyman jamming for bi-yonce. Looks like it's Horny Badger. Yep, jamming for Gay Z. And it's Buster Hyman with the lead status, first lead status for bi-yonce, I believe, in this game. And it comes to a quick end 0-0 jam.
Actually, Nameless Horror had a lead jammer status earlier as well.
You know what? That's right.
But
they
no
had
points were
race.
scored. Yeah. So they still haven't converted any of those lead jammer statuses into points yet.
True.
Booty standing in the penalty box. It'll be a very brief pack advantage.
Set up the whole of that
bi-yonce.
last jam in the penalty box.
Yeah. Booty skates for Orangeville Roller Girls. Their travel team, the Misfit Militia, suddenly a big player now, potentially in the WFTDA.
Yeah, awaiting their first ranking, of course, but people are excited to see where that places them.
Yeah, they did upset the Queen City Roller Girls, a Division I team, earlier this season.
Yes, and it's Getcha with the lead jammer status for bi-yonce. A lot of spinning on the outside here, taking a lot of space, taking her time, but she does cinch lead, and it is cock blocker in the penalty box. A power jam for bi-yonce could be the momentum shift they need right now.
Yeah, they do have all four of their blockers on, and they're just kind of hanging back, as you can see. Now Nameless Horror goes in to work some offense, but a nice little slip of the block from Booty keeps her ahead of the play. Nice sweep there from the inside out.
bi-yonce likes it, and they're going to put some points on it.
Orgisaurus was the last line of defense, but could just get a weak shoulder onto Getcha, who gets through for 5 points.
Yeah, Booty recycled to the back, hoping to do some early defense against Getcha, but she is the GOAT for sure right now with Gay Z. Cock blocker back in action from the penalty box, looking to complete her initial pass.
Nice hit there from the Knight. The Gay Z pivot.
In black, so fitting. And a track cut penalty is going to send Cock blocker back to the box. A 5-point grand slam goes on the board for Getcha and bi-yonce. 10 points so far in this jam, more than they had up to this point.
Just coming up to the 8-minute mark, we are playing, as I mentioned, a WFTDA regulation game here, so we will have two 30-minute halves.
bi-yonce looking to sort of split up this formation, and Getcha makes her way through a third grand slam. It's a 15-point jam so far for bi-yonce. Another 20 seconds of action. We've got cock blocker standing in the box. Getcha calls the jam rather than complete another scoring pass, but that does mean a power jam start for bi-yonce in this next jam. 20-4 now, your score.
Very, very well-worked jam there from Gailey Copter and Bear and Nameless Horror with the pack for the majority of that jam, with Oliver close off in the penalty box. A nice work by bi-yonce, giving them a substantial lead now, 20-4.
Gay Z taking the front, and it's Smashing Good Time wearing the star for bi-yonce in black with, of course, the sparkly shorts.
Smashing Good Time having a fantastic first year skating for Tri-City Roller Derby. Now, though, getting repeatedly punneled by a nice swarming defense from a very experienced set of blockers for Gay Z.
Absolutely. 3 of them teammates, of course, from the Chicks Ahoy of Toronto Roller Derby. And you can see the cohesion there as they work together. They recycle, smash a good time in the back.
Hootie Hoo, though, is picking up a penalty on that swarming blocking, so that's going to leave Sleepover and the not Rosemary's Rabies, the littlest homo, of course, on the track.
Cockblocker cinching lead for Gay-Z on a 8 or 9 second power kill start. So really impressive defensive work here by the team in white. Sleepover working basically by herself to hold back Smash in good time and doing a damn good job of it. Smash in good time gets that spin on the outside, finally clears the pack, and I say pack loosely.
It was a very loose pack.
It's a very loose definition of a pack there.
We saw this in the opening game too. We see it every year. These teams just kind of getting a sense for not each other but for themselves, just trying to work out who's going to be where in the pack, and we did see it in the opening game tonight earlier. Lots of penalties, lots of loose packs in the early going, but they eventually did tighten things up and pulled together a pretty decent game in that opening. And we're seeing one here too. Gay-Z with a 10-0 jam pulls within 6, just over 10 minutes into the opening half now. 20-14 is the score. It's going to be Buster Hyman on the jam line. How can I forget that name?
Yeah, and like you said, RollOut's essentially a very sparkly scrimmage.
It is very, very, very sparkly.
Fancy, exciting scrimmage, and it's Dana Skullfucker versus Buster Hyman jamming right now. Pack advantage to bi-yonce. And Buster Hyman, nice spin around booty.
Bajillionaire with some scrappy defense.
Yeah, very impressive. Normally jamming with Toronto Roller Derby is able to hold back Buster Hyman a few seconds longer.
Oh, a nice exit hit from the notorious VAG just as Dana was about to pass that second apex and get through in an initial pass.
Buster Hyman recycled on the outside of turn 1 on her scoring pass, and again, knockout from the littlest homo, holding up the rear of the pack, and Buster Hyman cuts her losses. 2 more points on the board for bi-yonce.
Seeing some fantastic one-on-one play, which is it does speak to the level of experience we have in this game. Taking a little bit of time for the packs to come in together and for the defenses to tighten up, but we are seeing that individual strength here, and the one-on-one play has been unbelievable in the early going of the second game of the 2016 rollout.
Absolutely. A lot of these teams have had a very intense season, a spring season, so this is the result of a lot of training, a lot of derby, kind of seeing what's come of the preseason play. Nameless Horror jamming, of course, now for bi-yonce, and Horny Badger for Gay-Z, that Montreal matchup once again.
Yeah, I loving this Montreal versus Montreal battle, and Bear going at it as well with Horny Badger. Those, of course, 2 members of the WFTDA Division 1 teams, and Honey Badger gets called on the cut, drawn by Bear.
Track cut assessed against Horny Badger, who points at the ref as if to say, no, you cut the track.
You did it.
No, you're doing it.
But Nameless Horny Badger is in the penalty box.
Nameless Horror unopposed on the track, and she gains lead jammer status for Team bi-yonce.
Nameless Horror doesn't jam a lot for La Racaille in Montreal, but does don the star every once in a while.
Yeah, Team bi-yonce a little bit short on jammers at the moment, and I think as well, you know, the game is for fun.
Yeah.
A lot of people are trying out positions that they don't normally play because we're just here to have fun and sparkle.
Except for Horny Badger, who shows why she is a jammer on a top 15 WFTDA team right there with some incredible just track awareness, and the speed is just unbelievable. Pops through on the inside, as you saw very briefly in that little flash of white on your screen there. At turn number 1 was Horny Badger coming around on his quick pass, and a nice little juke around all of her close off, and then Bear, and a great skating from Horny Badger.
If I'm not mistaken, that was 3 scoring passes while the lead jammer, you know, looked on.
Had no idea.
I mean, Nameless Horror did take a fall, but it seems as though the refs didn't assess it to be a game stoppage level fall. She was sort of crouched and looking up at people. And yeah, the amount of control that Horny Badger exuded at that speed was really impressive.
Yeah, Horny Badger's been around, has skated for multiple teams in Ontario, and this is her second stint with Montreal now, and is one of the key jammers on their new Skids on the Block, the highest ranked Canadian team in WFTDA play. And the Knight with a nice little battle there against Yes Queer, and the Knight gets through.
Lead jammer status for Gazy. Tis 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 from bi-yonce, chasing her down the track. Of course, she joins us from Tri-City Roller Derby. Both of them actually from Tri-City Roller Derby. Quick call off there and 0-0 jam after that big run. Our score now, of course, 24-22 for Gazy, about halfway through this first period.
Another tight one here, but this one's close from the early going. 4-3 pack advantage for this start. It looks like NX is in the penalty box for, sorry, that big queer in the penalty box.
It's Vigilionaire facing off against bi-yonce Copter on your jammer line. Pack advantage, like you said, to bi-yonce. And Vigilionaire with the tiny toes on the inside gets knocked to the infield.
This could be, these two skaters could have the smallest feet of any two jammers we see on the track in this game.
Yeah,
Gaily Copter is famously tiny feet. Wears like children's size.
Itty bitty skates. Lead jammer status to Gaily Copter from bi-yonce getting chased down by Vigilionaire. Yeah, the battle of twinkle toes right now.
Good for those toe stop walks on the line. And Gaily Copter, who began her career and spent about 5 years as a primary jammer for the Smoke City Betties and Toronto Roller Derby, has really become an effective pivot and offensive blocker now for her team. But getting an opportunity here with the heart slash star and picks up 4 points.
The little powerful skates makes me think of Aladdin, like ultimate cosmic power, itty bitty lemon space.
I'm sure they'll both appreciate that.
I hope so.
26-24, bi-yonce now pulled back ahead.
Horny Badger facing off against Buster Hyman on the jammer line. 3-on-3 pack here as Hootie Hoo and I think Bear sitting it out in the penalty box.
It's a 3-3.
Oh, immediate back block penalty
Horny
to
Badger.
Horny Badger.
Being sent off, so now Buster Hyman with an opportunity to pick up lead jammer status, and she does so.
Yeah, Orgisaurus getting goaded in the back of that pack, gets stretched out enough for Buster Hyman to make it around the outside. A lot of distance between these two teams right now as the Orgisaurus plays the part of the goat in the back. Buster Hyman moving around the outside of turn 3, and you can see Hootie Hoo leading her to the outside. That's 5. Oh no, it's a low block call. Oh, a low block call for Hootie Hoo.
Yeah, it looked like her foot came out. It was a clean hip-to-hip hit, but then her foot came out after, and they followed through and tripped up Buster Hyman, and that led to that low block call.
Hootie Hoo with her classic "Who me" face. Every time she gets the penalty, Horny Badger back in action and completes her initial pass, and it's a call off from Buster Hyman after 3 points scored.
Horny Badger with that speed, just forcing Bear almost with just the force of the speed, not any physical contact at all, forcing her out of play and forcing her to let her go. 34-24 is the call.
Mostly an optical illusion, I think.
Yeah, it's scary, that speed.
Yes.
As you mentioned, this is the 8th year that Toronto Roller Derby has put on this event as part of Pride Weekend's festivities. Really Pride Month's festivities, but all culminating in this weekend's big festival here in Toronto, one of the biggest Pride celebrations in North America.
Yeah, it's an event that skaters look forward to all year, and you can see by how many people travel from quite a distance to participate. Cock blocker first out of the pack, and your lead jammer.
Lexi, though, right on her, a few feet back. Pack's moving quickly to match this jammer race that's happening, and bi-yonce keeping their points ahead and looking to force a call-off. Finally now, the littlest Homo looking to work some offense along with Knight, trying to drag a point back, but Jammer Head Shark keeping ahead of the play, and finally gets knocked to the outside, and that will allow Lexi to pop through for 3 points. It's going to be a 3-2 jam, so steal for 2.
Yeah, well done on that front. Hootie Hoo sort of returning to the box, not knowing where to step in as the pack was moving so quickly. It looked like the jam was about to end, but they kept up that sprint. Your score right now, 37-26, 11 minutes left. We have a timeout called by bi-yonce.
First timeout of the game. Mentioned this event was first held in 2009 at the George Bell Arena. It was called the Clam Slam at the time, and it did keep that name for a few years before it was eventually changed.
And last year, they tested out the name uHaul Brawl, but this year we've come to the name RollOut, and I mean, it's classic, it's simple, and super duper inclusive.
And super duper inclusive. That was the point all along.
Yep.
And it's really remarkable when you think about the 8-year history that we've had this event. I was doing just a little bit of looking into things, and since that time, a lot has changed in the world. We forget often how slow change sometimes is in the world. It was in 2005 here in Canada when Bill C-38 passed, which allowed same-sex marriage to occur here in this country. But since 2009, many major countries have followed through picking up or allowing same-sex marriage. And it's really remarkable when you look at that list, when you think of the amount of Western and sort of progressive countries that has taken them so long to allow same-sex marriage to occur.
Well, in the United States only last year, and we've always had a smattering of American friends here at this event. And I believe it was the year before last that 2 of them actually got married on Pride Weekend, right before what was then called Clam Slam. So
at the World Pride. It was World Pride that year.
Yeah.
So just to give you a sense of that, some countries since 2009, since we've had this event, who have allowed legalized same-sex marriage, countries like Mexico, Portugal, Argentina, the incredibly progressive Iceland didn't legalize same-sex marriage until 2010. New Zealand, France, Scotland, as you mentioned, USA just last year, Finland. So these are really sort of developed countries that have finally gotten around to equality for all.
Well, and I think, and not to put a pallor on the situation, but I think when we take into account the recent events in Florida, you know, it just sort of highlights the importance of pride and of still pushing forward and not becoming complacent.
Yeah, that's right.
And not taking for granted that everyone feels the same way you do.
That's right. One of the organizers of this event, Notorious VAG, said, also known as That Meg Fenway or Vag Lightning, said it very aptly that this is an important event. She wishes it weren't, but it still is an important event, and hopefully someday it won't be. But sports and the LGBT community has been a complex relationship over time, but one place where it's always been beautifully inclusive is here on the flat track, and we are now back underway.
And with that, we have Dana Skullfucker is your lead jammer for Gay Z, and getcha with a big hit in the back here from Wrecker. Recycled way back. Dana on a scoring pass, and a little foot out on the outside is going to mean a track cut. Did not put both feet back in. Samiracle taking back his whistle.
Very experienced referee on the outside. Samiracle, level 3 WFTDA ref. So quickly adjusting the call there.
Getcha with the star cover in hand, but still being worked over by the Gacy defense. Finally passes it to her pivot. That's Nameless Horror donning, donning the star now. And Dana with one left to best gets around Notorious VAG and calls the jam. She's all smiles. A 9-point jam for Gay Z. That's going to pull them within striking distance of bi-yonce, 37-35 after that 9-point jam.
Very, very well matched teams here tonight. So nice job putting together these two rosters. Sometimes hard to judge when you're bringing skaters in from such disparate leagues. It's hard to see who will work together well, but this has been a great matchup here so far. 9.5 minutes to go in the first half.
Now, well done, roster elves. Vagillionaire jamming for Gay Z, and it is that big queer, I believe. Oh no, it's Buster Hyman. The other short, talented bi-yonce jammer.
And Hootie Hoo now working with Horny Badgers. The last line of defense as Buster Hyman tries to work her way through to get lead jammer status. Hootie Hoo heading back to the penalty box. That's got to be like the 20th penalty for her so far in the early going. It seems like that anyway.
Vagillionaire passing the
nice
star
pass
to Horny Badger just before she's taken out by Gailey Copter. Successful pass, and Buster Hyman looking to put up those points. Let's go if she can. She calls off that jam. 4 more points on the board for bi-yonce.
Tara Part looking pretty comfortable out there on the track, considering she has been retired from competitive play for a year now. But just finding her groove in the early going here, working nicely with Gailey Copter.
Like riding a bicycle.
Yeah. She did skate for many, many, many years in Toronto Roller Derby. About 10, I think, to be exact.
That sounds about right. I mean, it's
9 or 10, yeah.
Yeah, 9 or 10 years. An absolute fixture, especially on this CN Power. We have a cock blocker jamming in white for Gay-Z versus Lexi in black. Lexi heading to the box on a back block penalty, which means lead jammer status going to cock blocker.
And it will be 3-on-3 in the pack, though. The pack has slowed down now at the apex of turn 1 and 2. Knight trying to drag one of those blockers back for her jammer. Cock blocker now coming around to score. Gets knocked to the outside by Oliver Closeoff. Yaz Queer looking for the track cut, didn't get it. And that split up the defense enough for cock blocker to get through for 5 points.
Cock blocker still has plenty of time as Lexi still seated in the penalty box with the star cover stashed in her top. Because, you know, it's all hands on deck when you're a jammer. Quick call off there from cock blocker to get the power jam start. 2 more points. That's a 7-point jam for Gay-Z. Pulling ahead of bi-yonce now with 7 minutes left in this half.
42-41. 1 point is the difference. Lots of time here to go in the first half. We'll have a full 30 for you for the second half as well. It's going to be Dana.
Dana in the star for Gay-Z, and Gay-Z taking the back.
It's going to be a power start here for Gay-Z. All 4 blockers on.
Jammer hit first, and then a quick hit it and quit it there. Goading Nameless Horror. That's how you know. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And Nameless Horror having none of that. Powers through Sleepover.
Yes.
And Sleepover being called for the low block on that as well.
Interesting. But, I mean, Skater did trip over her. Now we've got Lexicon back in action, looking to complete her initial pass, taking a little hip whip off of Notorious VAG. And the pass has occurred to Getcha. A low block penalty to Lexi's going to send her back to the box, but luckily the star is not coming with her.
So the star has already been passed to the hands of Getcha.
Things are getting real competitive out here.
They are.
Dana versus That Big Queer. She gets finishes her scoring pass, looking a little worse for the wear, but 5 points up on the board for Gay-Z, widening that lead.
Now, I haven't been keeping tight stats of this one, I have to admit,
yes.
But I believe this is Gay-Z's biggest lead of this game.
Absolutely. They've
oh, Nameless Horror with a massive hit on Dana, who goes down hard, but with a big smile on her face. She can appreciate a good hit.
I bet Dana has a few names for that.
Yeah. But
wow.
Dana skates as Dana Skull Crusher for D1 Queen City Roller Girls, appreciating that big hit on the outside. I love that when a skater just gets rocked, but
that is some
nods and
vintage
smiles.
roller derby right there.
Nice clean hit, those. And
yeah.
when those hits hit cleanly, skaters are not injured, as Dana was not. Maybe
it's
the wind
true.
knocked out of her a bit, but it was a nice clean hit. She's able to
horrified, but not injured.
Yes, but not injured.
Horny Badger jamming for Gay-Z against Bear. For the first time, I believe, for bi-yonce, and really coming right up against Hootie Hoo. Horny Badger, your lead jammer right now in white.
And yeah, Bear, having a hard time getting through this pack. Just one-on-one defense. Knight now looking for the hit. Didn't quite exit her, though.
Really fast pack here and very decent defense, all things considered, from Gay-Z. Considering the speed of this pack, Bear has just now completed her initial pass 35 seconds in.
And you got to see the footwork of Honey Badger on your screen, that hard stop on the outside and then quickly leaping in. And there is another inside-out juke that time to get around the pack and pick up all 4 points.
Yeah, little feet, super strong ankles. It's got to be.
And just experience. Began her career way, way, way back in early Canadian roller derby history for the Four City Derby Girls. Way back in the day, skating as Tomahawk, I believe, was the name back then. And she's come a long way.
And now she's come all the way back to visit for Pride Weekend.
And last year skated for Tri-City Roller Derby. Was a big part of their offense in the Division I playoffs.
And you'll be able to see her in the Division I playoffs this year, where we're almost positive. Ranking 7 come out yet, but the skids are safely in that territory. Speaking of safe, Buster Hyman, your lead jammer in black for bi-yonce, and Yas Queer recycling cock blocker from Gay Z. And what?
And Buster Hyman takes a big hit from Commander Box.
Track cut to cock blocker, and just pure chaos in this back right now. Buster Hyman manages to pick up 3 points, even though she spent about a half of that time on Booty's back.
Actually,
just chilling.
Yes, yeah, you know, chilling out on Booty's back. Booty had fallen small.
Yeah.
So nice fall from Booty. Pivot and jammer in the box for Gay Z, so an opportunity for bi-yonce to close this gap here as we near the end of the first half. Montreal Willoughby, I should mention, is actually hosting one of the WFTDA tournaments, Division 1 playoff tournaments this year.
Yep, that's Labor Day weekend.
That's right.
In Montreal.
The first Division 1 tournament of the season. You can find out more information at WFTDA.com/tournaments.
Getcha jamming for bi-yonce on this power start, getting held up by Hootie Hoo. Puts a foot out of bounds, but Hootie Hoo goes down herself. Forearm penalty actually going to send her to the box.
And I believe it was actually action with her hands on that one that led to that. She hauled down one of the defenders.
Getcha now with lead jammer status. A little glimpse there as she makes it through. 2 minutes left in this first period. And cock blocker looking to stem the flow here. Gay Z really pulling away now in the waning moments of this half.
Yeah, 20 minutes is the difference in that, but fumbling through on the inside was cock blocker. She is going to get a penalty, so power jam now for bi-yonce, and it will turn into a power start as Getcha had picked up 4 points, but I don't think quite realized that the power jam opportunity was there for her. Under 2 minutes to go, we'll get at least one more jam in here in the first half.
Yeah, they'll get a full 30-second power kill start. We may see Cockblocker foul out of this game. Again, we don't have access to stats, but I feel like I've said the words Cockblocker adding to the box.
Hootie Hoo, Cockblocker, both picking up a lot of penalties. We can't quite see the whiteboard from our vantage point, but we will get you all that information at halftime for sure.
Oliver Closeoff, lead jammer in the black for bi-yonce, and again, about another 22 seconds left for her to jam unopposed, and the pack is speeding up.
A nice baseline here being set by Gay Z, but nice work from the offense too.
Commander Box, big knockout here on the inside is going to send her to a different box. She's going to be joining Cockblocker there. Oliver Closeoff working her way through this pack.
Oh, nice work by Oliver Closeoff to stay in bounds. Taking hit from Horny Badger. And this jam comes to its end. We do have time for one more jam here in the opening half. bi-yonce now pulling within 10 points with the 5-0 jam, 65-55. This 30-minute half has gone by very, very quickly.
Well, Derby, this entertaining, you know, you just sort of forget where you are and sometimes forget that you're being recorded.
Yes.
That's a common problem. bi-yonce really dominating most of this first half, and now they're within 10 points of Gay Z, who had a really successful run there. Right now we've got The Knight jamming against Nameless Horror. 3-on-4 pack.
Nameless Horror is through. Lead jammer status picked up for bi-yonce. The Knight now working against Yas Queer at that back straight. And Yas Queer with an exit hit just at the very end of the engagement zone. No, excuse me, she was out of the engagement zone, so no pass, no penalty to the Knight.
Tear apart Gay Z, attempting to goad her, but she just comes in with such force.
Wrecker.
Rector.
Rector.
Yeah, on the outside there, Nameless Horror getting a bit of a dose of her own medicine on the outside there. But again, a legal hit. Refs checking in on her. And
checking in to see if she's all right. Nameless Horror instead just complaining about the penalty or the lack of a call, but smiles all around from my ref.
I'm fine, but why did you let her do that to me? There should be a law.
Well, that takes us into halftime.
Absolutely. 6 points.
That was an entertaining first half.
Yeah, 6 points separating these two teams. Gay Z in the white with 65. bi-yonce in the black with 59. And we're going to take a quick break now.
We'll be back in about 13 minutes' time for second half action here at RollOut 2016.
16.
I almost said 13. 2016.
2000 and certainly.
Yeah, and certainly the pack is queer.
It is.
And we'll be back for 30 more minutes of Roller Derby. I'm here with Pink Slaminade. I'm the Derby Nerd. Thank you for tuning in to layer9.ca.
Yes, we are back to have 5 seconds to track time here in your second period of RollOut 2016. The pack is queer. Your teams, of course, in the black, bi-yonce, in the white, Gay Z. I am Pink Slaminade, of course, joined by the Derby Nerd.
Still here.
Still here.
Picking up another one of these fine Black Oak Brewing Company beverages. Big thanks to them for sponsoring RollOut 2016. And second half underway. We've had 2 tight games so far in this one. It looks to be tight till the end. Horny Badger is your first lead jammer of the second half.
Nameless Horror trying to get around Hootie Hoo, and she makes it out, completes her initial pass. Wearing the black for bi-yonce. Horny Badger, again with that speed, just unmatched.
Well, we talked about penalty trouble in the first half, and a little bit of an update on that. Cockblocker sitting on 5 penalties.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, we are playing WFTDA regulation games, so 7 penalties will see you foul out. There have been some foul outs in the history of this event.
Absolutely. I mean, if there was ever a time for bad behavior, it's a fun event like this. There's no rankings at stake. Everyone's just gonna have some fun on the track and have some fun, of course, at the after party held at the Steady Cafe this year.
Oh, again for the second straight year.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's a great bar. Center of the roller derby and literary scenes in Toronto.
There you go. And Cockblocker with the lead jammer status for Gay Z being pursued now by Buster Hyman in the black for bi-yonce. Gay Z holding on to that lead.
Commander Block with some aggressive offense to open up a lane for Cockblocker.
Smiles here from Cockblocker. She manages all 4 points before the jam is called. 73-59 in favor of Gay Z.
And we still have 5-on-5 on the track. We had a very famous foul out, I believe, in the 2011 Clam Slam. Mercy from the Rose City Rollers. Very famous skater fouled out of that game. That was a very famous foul out. We were all very sad because we were so excited to see her play. And
yeah.
She fouled out early in the second half.
But then you get to start drinking this delicious Pommy's cider that we've got here, courtesy of our sponsors, Pommy's.
And of course, we just got to hang out with Mercy on the sidelines that year.
Well, and that's even better. Gailey Copter jamming in black for bi-yonce, being held up by the Knight, and Steffi Spitfire at the front.
A couple Tri-City skaters working together as the last line of defense.
Dana from Queen City being taken out by Smash in good time, who gets a direction of gameplay penalty for that hit.
Sorry, Steffi Spitfire is a Royal City skater. Excuse me.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
You betcha. Skating under the name Switch Hitter this evening. Dana, of course, completing her initial pass. Gailey Copter looking to finish off her scoring pass. Will she get Hootie Hoo's point? Not quite. 3 points on the board for bi-yonce.
And we will try and get to our on skates and off skates officials this game as well. Just a quick rundown. Our on skates officials are My Ref Nut, OCD, Samiracle, Epic Phil, Parking Lot, and Joe the Locksmith. All of them have a little bit of adornment, it seems, on their uniforms. The NSOs are very colorfully adorned as well for this game.
Again, normally pretty formal wear for our officials, so they get to show a little bit of sparkle and pizzazz tonight.
On skates officials can have fun too.
Absolutely, they're super fun. Horny Badger jamming for Gay Z in the white. She is your lead jammer. Oliver close off, looking to make it through, and she does on the inside. bi-yonce sitting on the back, and Horny Badger doesn't need much space at all to get by on the outside of turn 1. 4 points on the board. And
you've been privileged viewers with being able to see Honey Badger make some of those moves here at track number 1, right at this this camera. It's she's been phenomenal this game.
Absolutely, and great camera work here by our volunteers, and all courtesy of Mr. Force. I believe there's a donate button on layer9.ca. If you've gotten any enjoyment, any lulls, any thrills out of the night, you should definitely shoot some money his way, because he does this out of the goodness of his heart.
Big thanks to Honey Boom Boom, our producer, Casey McNally on the cameras, and Angard on the camera tonight as well for this game. So big thanks to all of our layer9.ca volunteers.
Those sweet overhead shots courtesy of Angard, and lead jammer going to be courtesy of Getcha in the black for bi-yonce, and cockblocker held up in the back by Lexi, finally making it past Yas Queen.
Oh. Yas Queer with a nice little sweeping hit there. Only slowed up cockblocker, though. She gets up very quickly. And now trying to make up that full track that you were seeing that Getcha has. Getcha goes to the outside, sees Vigillionaire, had squared her up for a hit, calls it off, but had already picked up 2 points.
Yeah, cockblocker here from Niagara Roller Girls, who we don't see a lot of in these parts.
Yeah.
So really making an impressive showing for sure.
Yeah, a bunch of Niagara Roller Girls skaters here tonight. Wrecker, of course, formerly skated for the Hammer City Roller Girls, also skating in this game. She is cockblocker's teammate in this matchup for Gay Z.
And jamming right now, we've got Buster Hyman in the black for bi-yonce, but lead jammers Dana Skullfucker in white for Gay Z.
But not far behind Buster Hyman and trying to make up some track quickly. Both of these are very fast skaters.
Gay Z looking to go Nameless Horror, who gets a forearm penalty. That's going to send her to the penalty box, and call off from the floor from Dana. 2 more points on the board for Gay Z, holding on to this lead for the entire second period so far.
5 minutes in, very quickly. That first period went by super fast, and this one's going by just as quickly. 5 minutes in, 15 points is the difference. Gay Z looking to make up a bit of that gap now. For bi-yonce, it's Tits, Tits, Tits. And I believe it's Honey Badger once again for bi-yonce.
Horny Badger this time.
Oh, Horny Badger. Yes.
Tonight she is Horny Badger.
Yeah, Horny Badger.
And she is lead jammer once again. That's supremacy with the star. Tits, Tits, Tits. Tapping that toe out of bounds. Cut track penalty for bi-yonce means a power jam for Gay Z, which is exactly what they want right now. Really dominating in the last 10 minutes.
And that big Queer and Notorious VAG with a big knockdown of Horny Badger, but of course they didn't knock her out of bounds. They both realized that as they tried to drag her back. It's such a muscle memory sort of move now. Whenever a blocker hits down a jammer, they immediately pop back, even if they haven't knocked her out of bounds.
Remember
that
your
time,
training.
though, that big Queer did make the exit hit, and she and Getcha drag back the Horny Badger.
Yep. And some confusion here, it looked like, from the black blockers, but they have reformed again to hold back Horny Badger. Tits, 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 working on that pack.
Oh, and Horny Badger just evades the hit from Nameless Horror.
Ooh, big hit from Wrecker here, and the Knight not able to slow down. Tits, Tits, Tits.
Oh, and finally Knight with a nice exit hit on Tits, Tits, Tits.
That's going to be a big reset. Oh, the Knight heading to the box for, looks like a back block penalty?
Forearm, I believe.
Forearm penalty. Who knew?
Equally as bad.
Tits, Tits, Tits finally completing her initial pass. That's going to prompt Horny Badger to call off the jam. Another 4 points on the board for her. 13-point jam for Gay Z, really widening this lead.
Nice little moment there from that big Queer and Horny Badger. Of course, teammates last year on the Tri-City Roller Derbies. Thunders D1 playoff. They played in Tucson, Arizona.
It's really hot there.
It was really hot. I was there.
How hot was it?
It was so hot. No, not going to go there.
That it was really hot.
It was really hot. It's in the desert.
It was uncomfortably warm and dry.
Warm. Yep, and dry. But we were in a very beautiful, air-controlled conference center for the whole weekend.
Yeah, I was in Dallas. Okay. I saw the
very hot there
Reno Valley Vixens play, and it was also real hot.
Real hot.
Real hot there.
In Texas.
Vigillionaire, your lead jammer for Gay Z, and it's Oliver Closeoff just barely staying in on turn 2. Some excellent balance there.
Yeah, and Oliver Closeoff, not a jammer for her home league, which is currently Toronto Roller Derby, skates for the Gorgo Roller Girls. A very, very effective blocker for that team, but now getting an opportunity tonight in both of these rollout games with the star.
She's also a huge asset to the Toronto All-Stars.
Yeah, that's right.
Where she ERP'd mid-season and just really made some great space for herself there and really showed her competitive mettle for sure. And you're seeing it here tonight.
Yeah, didn't try out for the All-Star team originally and took a lot of flack for that.
She didn't have to.
Yeah, and then eventually got called up. Yes. Maybe that was it.
Jam is on, and it's Cockblocker versus Buster Hyman. Cockblocker taking Buster out to the inside and then racing up the line herself. Really impressive.
Yeah, Cockblocker having a fantastic game. Skates as Blackamole for the Niagara Roller Girls.
Big hit here from Smash and good time in the sparkly shorts. Recycling Cockblocker on her scoring pass. Buster Hyman going up against Wrecker. A lot of quick toe work here. The one-on-one blocking, really great.
You got a nice view of that. Buster Hyman, just a fantastic skater and so good on those toe stops.
Penalty number
Cockblocker.
6, and it's another track cut as she is wont to do.
And Notorious VAG also getting called out, it looks like on an out-of-play call.
So bi-yonce on a power jam now. Buster Hyman having another minute and 10 seconds to score, and maybe they'll be able to sort of tighten this gap finally.
Just as the score seemed to be widening between these two teams, suddenly now bi-yonce on the power jam, and they've got a fantastic jammer out there for this moment as well, and there is Buster Hyman with 5 points. Buster Hyman skates as Beaver Mansbridge.
Yeah, and switch hitter just leaving what was a full box for GayZ at the moment, and Cockblocker now rejoining the action. Oh, man.
Just as Buster Hyman was about to get through, Wrecker with a nice hit on her, exiting her at turn number 4. And that allowed Cockblocker down to get through, but she quickly runs into a braced trio of GayZ blockers led by Bear and Notorious VAG and Smashing Good Time.
Incredibly effective triad formation here and really covering a lot of space in the track. A track cut penalty now to Buster Hyman means a power jam for GayZ, and in the position they're in, they've got 99 problems, but the score is not 1 right now.
Well played, P-Slam. Cockblocker, though, also picks up a cutting penalty.
That's the one. That's
there
one
it
of
is.
their 99 problems is that Cockblocker has just fouled out.
You forget about that 100th problem. It just hit Cockblocker. Both jammers in the box now very quickly to start things off. And the first time out of the game called by GayZ. Perhaps they feel their lead is threatened. It is still 25 points. 18:30 to go. But 25 points is not much. We saw a 35-point jam in the first game.
Well, and you know, with Cockblocker out of the picture, you're going to see maybe some momentum shift here, not just from bi-yonce, but GayZ is going to have to replace her with the star.
That's right.
And Jax appears to be interviewing the jammers in the box because...
Only at rollout.
Yeah, exactly. If not here, then where? Probably nowhere.
Probably nowhere.
Probably shouldn't be here anymore.
No. This should never happen. But it can happen at rollout because anything can happen at rollout.
It's very early 90s Oprah Winfrey.
It's very. Sally Jesse Raphael even.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Jammer? Meanwhile, the head ref's like, get out of this building.
All right, it looks like we are ready to get back underway. You have a little bit of a view there of the whiteboard. It is getting filled up, particularly on the GayZ side. Many more penalties for the skaters in white so far than bi-yonce. Nice experienced line of bi-yonce skaters out there. Yes, Queer out there with Tear Apart, Getcha, and Tits, Tits, Tits. And starting up at the pivot line, we have a split pack. Littlest Homo bridging the two packs now. First jammer out of the box is Buster Hyman, followed very quickly now by Cockblocker.
So Cockblocker, I was certain, had 5 at the half and had had 2 so far this period. So that's interesting. And here she goes. She may even get lead jammer out of it. Tear Apart and Tits, Tits, Tits at the front here doing some excellent defense. And Cockblocker gets lead jammer.
You know, I could have made a mistake on that.
It could have been 4.
It was Hootie Who had 5 at half,
Oh.
and Cockblocker had 4. Excuse me.
All right, so there you
Cockblocker
go.
though is sitting on 6 now.
Disregard everything we said in the last 3 minutes. Cockblocker
Except for
is,
that. That was right.
Yeah, is lead jammer right now, and that's a trap. So now it's for real. Now it's for real. 7th penalty to Cockblocker.
Yep. That's a big loss.
Buster Hyman hanging out in the outfield. Getcha with the star right now for bi-yonce.
Interestingly as well, of course, she cannot come back onto the track. So this is not a 30-second power jam. This is a full minute power jam, and Getcha has just taken the star, so they have a fresh jammer as well. So a big opportunity now for bi-yonce to get back into this game. They're going to have a full minute power jam. They've already taken 25 seconds of it.
Yeah, Getcha sort of taking her time. She knows that the clock's on her side here, and sort of awaiting that offense on the inside, maybe missing the timing a little bit. Oh, here she goes. Hootie hoo in the front, but can't hold her back. 5-point grand slam, and of course, Cockblocker has left the penalty box. She is done for the rest of the game. Sleepover and tear apart jostling in the front of the inside of turn 1.
Nice job by Gazy to keep this pack moving quickly and limit the amount of passes that Getcha could make. Getcha just coming up on her second scoring pass, was unable to take it, and Cockblocker was sitting on 5 points before she picked up that 7th penalty, so those points now are on the board, and Gazy maintains their lead of 104-79. So a nice job overall by Gazy to weather that jammer foul out. It was a full minute power jam. They only gave up 5 points.
Yeah, even losing one of their anchor jammers with 25 points ahead and 60 minutes left, they could definitely still hold on to this as long as they continue with this really coordinated defense.
Yeah, we've seen this. Both teams really tighten things up here in the second half, and that big queer
nice.
with a big hit right in front of us here at turn number 1, taking out Dana's Skullfucker. I said it.
Yep, you can do it.
I did it.
How many beers did that take?
A couple.
Yeah.
And Dana, though, very quickly re-enters. And the thing I love about Dana, and I really do like the Queen City Roller Girls a lot. They're a great team to watch. She loves those hits. Even though she took that hit, big smile on her face, knew it was a good, clean hit.
No, it seems to be half the fun for her.
Yeah, appreciates the defense very much. Nice play there by both skaters.
Yeah, she's all like, I ain't even mad. That's amazing.
5 points, though, on the board for Gazy. Or so for bi-yonce, yes.
Yeah.
To narrow the gap a little bit now. 20 points is the difference. Halfway through the second period, 15 minutes to go. Lots of time to make up 20 points.
And of course, we've still got Horny Badger in gameplay, who's been a big scorer for Gazy. She's up against Smashin' Good Time in black for bi-yonce. Oh, out quickly. Still counts. It still counts. She is your lead jammer in white for Gazy. Smashing Good Time, making her way around Booty, knocked to the inside, but comes in behind, makes it around Sleepover. She's going to start her scoring pass.
Horny Badger through for a pickup of 4 points, calls it off.
Gazy just holding on to that comfortable lead.
I don't know how comfortable it is.
I mean,
points?
the game's, it's a low-scoring game.
It is.
So far, and it has been fairly close.
As I mentioned, though, in our opening game tonight, we did have a 35-point jam. A jam like that would totally turn this game around. The Knight is going to be jamming in the white for Gazy up against Nameless Horror. Another opportunity for the star for Nameless Horror.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most Nameless has jammed in a long time, I can tell you that.
Oh, for sure.
In one game.
Orgisaurus looked to open up a hole on the inside for her jammer, but ended up letting Nameless Horror by, and a track cut penalty is going to send the Knight to the box. Now this is what bi-yonce was waiting for. You can see their bench really celebrating right now.
Yeah, and Yas Queer immediately shifting into offense. Eventually pulls back now at turn number 3 to hang back with her pack, but now moves quickly again. And Nameless Horror suddenly one to beat, and Yas Queer with some more nice offense on Wrecker opens up that lane, and Nameless Horror is through for the 5-point pass. The bi-yonce comeback begins.
Absolutely. bi-yonce sort of biding their time right now. Gazy looking a tiny bit frantic in the front there, a little speed.
Pack, though, is slowing up, and once again, Yas Queer a.k.a. Gillimal, moving into that pack to try and open things up. And the Nameless Horror is going to call it off, but just as the Knight gets back onto the track, 4 more points, though, picked up for bi-yonce. That will narrow the gap to 108 to 93, 12.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Right back in it.
25-point gap narrowed down to 15. And Nameless Horror could have run a little longer. The Knight was not on a scoring pass there, but you could see a bit of frustration. Probably wanted to stay out of penalty trouble, especially in the waning moments of the game.
Yeah, and just again, she's not a regular jammer for her team, so it does take a lot more endurance to get through a game.
Notorious VAG wearing the star for the first time this evening. Recycled to the back, and Sleepover forces the track cut. That face says it all. Dana Skullfucker is your lead jammer for Gay Z.
And Sleepover getting involved now, trying to hold back that big queer. That is a tough goat to keep, as you can see, that big queer giving that pack all they can.
Ooh. Yeah, Gay Z looking to shut down bi-yonce's comeback. Dana Skullfucker alone in the back of the pack here. That big queer leveling a big hit, but falling to the ground herself. Oliver Klozoff being goaded in the back by Booty and Sleepover.
And Notorious VAG is standing, star in hand. Oh, and there, a track cut now.
You get a cut. You get a cut.
Everyone gets a cut.
Everybody gets a cut.
Notorious VAG, though, does have the star in hand, ineligible for lead jammer status, just trying to get through on that initial pass, perhaps passing it off to that big queer. That big queer is an experienced jammer, or pivot at least.
Absolutely. Booty and Sleepover doing 2-person blocking in the back of the engagement zone.
Oh, nice offense from Oliver Klozoff there to free up Notorious VAG. Unfortunately, she had to stop to pick up the star that she had dropped. And now a star pass being made to that big queer. And that will allow that big queer to get through. Booty and, of course, Sleepover teammates on the Misfit Militia.
Yeah, and from the Orangeville Roller Girls. That big queer now, that big jammer on a scoring pass. What will she manage against Gay Z in the final seconds of this jam? That's going to be a full pass. 4 points in the air.
Nice skating from that big queer.
And another 5 going to Dana from Gay Z.
So for every step that bi-yonce makes, Gay Z just keeps a step ahead.
How dare they?
How dare they? 113 to 97. It is still a very close game with 10 minutes left to go. In the real world, Jay-Z would never beat Beyonce at anything.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
this is what I'm saying.
This seems very
it feels
incongruous
wrong to
here.
say it.
Yeah,
No.
doesn't seem right.
But I mean, the gameplay speaks for itself. Jay-Z's done a very good job of sort of keeping things locked down, working really well together for a team of people who, you know, started playing with each other about an hour ago.
And a big collapse now as the pack falls apart at turn number 1, and that's going to allow Horny Badger to get through as lead jammer. And Buster Hyman once again having a hard time. Hootie Hoo, the last line of defense. And Buster Hyman gets low at turn 2, sneaks by, initial pass complete. A full pack, though, to make up as Horny Badger is already round in scoring.
Big pack advantage to bi-yonce, but Hootie Hoo taking such a good time out on the inside and trying to grab those points for Horny Badger, who, you know, grabs all 4 while she's at it.
Pretty nice to have a Horny Badger at the end of the bench just to throw in every once in a while to maintain
It's pretty
the
nice
lead.
to have them around just generally.
Horny Badgers in general. Yeah, you know.
It's fun for the whole family. Less than 9 minutes left in this contest. 20 points separating these two teams. We have, again, the 4-on-2 pack advantage for bi-yonce. Hugs in the front between Orgisaurus and Wrecker as they prepare to hold back Nameless Horror. Maybe a little prayer. Maybe a tiny, tiny prayer was said just now.
Exactly. Wrecker did get Nameless Horror out, but unfortunately Wrecker couldn't stay in bounds, and that allowed Nameless Horror to get through. Nameless Horror was very, very happy with that pass.
My ref not assessing a penalty against Oliver Klozoff. A lot of discussion there in the middle from the refs. Nameless Horror picking up a natural 5-point Grand Slam as the star still on Vigilionaire's head.
And finally made a nice little move past Tara Park to get through on the back straight. But coming around on another scoring pass is Nameless Horror and cuts through the middle of that pack. It's going to be a 9-0 jam for bi-yonce. And they will pull within 11 points here with 7:45 to go.
Yeah, smoother than a knife through butter right there.
Yeah.
11 points between these two teams and 7.5 minutes left to go. Pack advantage now going to Gay-Z with their full contingent of blockers on the track.
Gaileycopter jamming for bi-yonce. Gaileycopter is known as Titmouse in Toronto Roller Derby, but she did briefly try to change her name to Haleycopter.
And Toronto basically said no.
Refused.
Nope, that's not your name.
Tittycopter was as close as it came to catching on. And so finally, after a year of being called Tittycopter or just Tits, she went back to Titmouse.
Yeah. It was widely opposed.
It was condemned.
Star has been passed to Lexi, the pivot for bi-yonce. She's now holding that. She's completed her initial pass. Dana looking to score quickly, and she does. Big clog there from Sleepover and the Littlest Homo.
And 3 points picked up for Gay-Z. So again, they maintained that lead, build it up, back up a little bit. 17 points now is 14 points is the difference.
Yeah. And you're right, all it would take is one of those runaway jams, especially as the time winds down here. 6.5 minutes left on the clock. Less time to recover from a mistake for sure, but Gay-Z seems to be holding their own pretty well.
Pack. The jam is underway. Pack not moving, though, as the jammers slowly assess the situation, getting very physical with each other. It's Horny Badger, I can see now, and
Bear looking to feed her to her defensive line, but is it going to work? Horny Badger taking a hip around Wrecker, held up in the front here by Tits, and Getcha.
Oh, and Tits with a big hit, and that allows Bear to sneak through and pick up lead jammer status.
Lead jammer for bi-yonce. Another fall here for Horny Badger, just eating up that time. Orgisaurus not able to hold back Bear. That's going to be a few points up on the board as Horny approaches.
And Bear calls it off just in time. Bear sitting on no points, so nice defense there from Gay-Z, holding Bear to 0 points on that pass. Wow.
Yeah.
We didn't have a good clear view of it, but I just assumed she'd picked up a point or two.
I thought Orgy's point at the very least.
Yeah.
But, and then Pretty Boy Toy has a few things to say about that gem. I can't imagine what, though. Gay-Z really coming out on top there.
Yeah, nice defense from Gay-Z, but Horny Badger did something. All right, Pretty Boy Toy. Wearing a Penny Hardaway
prettier than
too.
usual,
like
though.
that.
Like, look at those. Look at those leggings.
Wearing number 1, and Gaileycopter, who's out there right now playing offense as the pivot for bi-yonce, wearing number 1 as well. Do you know, P-Slam, that in traditional roller derby, the number 1 was retired? It was a league-wide retired number.
In Toronto, or
no, in
the whole wide world?
In the whole wide world.
Interesting. Why is that?
There was a terrible bus crash, I believe, in the 1940s that and a number of the original roller derby skaters passed away in that crash.
Oh my goodness.
And so in honor of them, number 1 was retired, but it has been brought out of retirement here in the flat track era, but it's still a very rare number. But getting to see it on the track right now.
Absolutely. Dana is, of course, your lead jammer in the white for Gay-Z. Nameless Horror taken out on turn 4 by Sleepover.
Nice one-on-one battle you're seeing in the middle of your screen between Yas Queer and Dana Skullfucker.
The star has been passed from Nameless Horror to our aforementioned number 1, Gaileycopter. Trying to make it through on the inside there, taken out by Sleepover, working with Wrecker. Recycled to the back, Dana Skullfucker on her second scoring pass. And Gay-Z just dominating the back of that pack. Recycle happens again here from Wrecker.
Nice defense at the back of that pack. Gaileycopter hasn't even had an opportunity to put the star in her helmet yet. Another big hit at turn number 4.
Yeah, big take-up by Yas Queer, and Dana's had enough of that.
And it looks like an official timeout will be called.
Yeah, time is on her side as a member of GayZ. Now they've widened their lead to 21 points and only 3 minutes, 10 seconds left on the clock.
Wow, this second half has gone by as quickly as the first half. Another low-scoring, very, very fast-paced game. You know, this is kind of what we've gotten used to here, though, at these events. Throughout history, they've always been very fast-paced, high-scoring games.
Yeah. I mean,
perhaps just the nature of the event.
It is sort of an exhibition bout. It's an entertainment event, and it is for fun. And luckily, the spectators here and those of you watching at home have almost as much fun as the people on the track.
That's right. See, we have a really good ref crew, too. And, you know, the number one discussion was started by, as you're seeing right now, Pretty Boy Toy's Penny Hardaway jersey. The number one on his jersey. Pretty Boy Toy, known as Pretty in Toronto Roller Derby. Your bench coach for the Chicks Ahoy.
For the Chicks Ahoy.
Full disclosure, you actually skate.
Yes, I have a conflict of interest in that.
You're a champion.
I love his leggings a whole lot more.
And you and Pretty won the Toronto Roller Derby Championships this year.
Yeah, me and him.
Yeah,
we
just
did
alone together.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, first championship in several years for the Chicks. First win this season in several years. Just period during the season. So it's an exciting year for sure. Orgesaurus wearing the star for the first time this contest. She is your lead jammer for GayZ, and the crowd is losing their minds. Buster Hyman knocked out by the littlest hobo.
You know, and Orgesaurus has a history of doing this, just coming on late in the game, being given the star, and such an effective blocker and so a really good skater, so able to just kind of power through these packs as we're seeing right now. And Orgesaurus picking up a big grand slam, maybe locking down this game for GayZ here in the late moments.
Yeah,
of the
old Tri-City switcheroo.
Yeah.
Let's put Orgy out there. Agrosaurus, as she's often known. Buster Hyman has passed the star to Oliver Klozoff, who's had an amazing game, an amazing 2 games, really.
Yeah.
Right into the
Commander Box.
Yeah.
Shuts down Oliver Klozoff.
Shuts down hard, and GayZ is not giving an inch of space. They may feel like they have this in the bag, but that's no excuse to get sloppy now.
Commander Box began her career here on the Ted Reeve Arena, skating for the GTA Roller Girls before transferring to Toronto Roller Derby, so she does know this track well.
Absolutely, she knows this venue well. She skates now for the Smoke City Betties.
Orgesaurus just racking up points on this jam. 20-point jam now so far for Orgesaurus.
And counting.
Closing out this game. The huge jam. Vigillionaire leading the offense and defense as the pivot with Commander Box, Little Homo in the night, and celebrating as they leave the track. That could have been the turning point to this game. It could have been the closer right there.
Oh, a 23-point jam for Orgesaurus. And now our score, the widest it's been all evening, 150 to 106, and a minute left on the period clock. So this is likely going to be our final jam.
And you can see now our track announcer, Jax Blue, coming around with the yay sign, as you saw just
I do what I'm told. I saw the word I had to say. Bill Murray wailing on that microphone, getting the crowd pumped up for this, what is likely the final jam. Smashing good time, jamming in black for bi-yonce against Horny Badger, who is your lead jammer for GayZ. Oh, it's a forearm penalty, it looks like, for Smashing Good Time. It's going to mean a power jam for GayZ, and they're going to go out like they have this whole second half, just dominating.
Yeah, and it looks like GayZ will close out the game now. It was an Orgesaurus jam, though, a 23-0 jam from Orgesaurus that really widened the gap to a gap that couldn't be closed for bi-yonce. And now it's Horny Badger, who's had such a strong game. Oh, and a nice little pirouette there on the first straightaway past the big queer to close things out.
Yeah, some coordinated offense here from GayZ, and then they decide to use Tits as a goat. Gives a little pop to Horny Badger, makes it across the pack.
As the clock ends, she calls it off. Great track awareness there, and that will bring us to a conclusion here at RollOut 2016. The pack is queer.
Your final score, 160 to 106 for Gay-Z over bi-yonce. bi-yonce, you know, winning in real life. Gay-Z winning in our little fantasy world here. But everyone's a winner tonight because we all had fun. We're all friends. We're all wearing colorful clothes and glitter and smiles.
You know, on June 1st, 2016 this year, for the first time in Canadian history, the Pride flag flew at Parliament Hill. And what a nice way to close out this month with RollOut 2016 here at Ted Reeve Arena.
Absolutely. There's a lot more Pride events coming in Toronto as the weekend progresses. And, of course, our Prime Minister will be in town to celebrate with us.
I believe also the first sitting Prime Minister to take part in a Toronto Pride parade.
That is correct.
This year.
Yep, that's correct. And, you know, Toronto is a big lover of Pride events, and Toronto Roller Derby a big mover and shaker in the LGBT activism community. So it's just it's a great event year after year. It never disappoints, and this game was certainly a really exciting game to watch and an exciting game to announce.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it is an official final for those keeping score. 165 Gay-Z over bi-yonce. As we mentioned earlier, the only time that Gay-Z will ever finish ahead of bi-yonce.
Did you hear that, Jay-Z? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Are you listening?
That's straight from the nerd.
Yeah. His word is law. He has a book.
Yeah.
Like a real one.
Yeah. Jay-Z would totally be intimidated by that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
What does he have? Like $1 billion. That's
yeah, whatever. But what a night it's been.
It has.
Big thank you.
The party's going to continue, of course, at the Steady.
Yeah, if you're for some reason watching at home and saying, man, I wish I was hanging out with all these amazing skaters, you can head down to the Steady after hours for the after party tonight. It will probably go late considering tomorrow's a holiday.
Yes. Big thank you to Mr. Force and our camera crew and producers. Big thank you to all the NSOs and referees and volunteers who continue to make this happen.
Yeah, and Mr. Whistler, who was on the mic for the first game. This game concluded with Ann Gard and Casey McNally on the cameras. We had, of course, William Force holding everything together here, the whole production together, and we had Honey Boom Boom, once again, producer extraordinaire, switching between our cameras and giving us all of these great views. And, of course, our venue announcers tonight were Jax Blue, as you're seeing right now in the center of the track, and Bill Murray.
And we were the Derby Nerd and Pink Slaminade.
Yeah, we were.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Thanks for tuning in to 2016 RollOut. The Pack is Queer.